Good evening. Hi, this is Scotty Sanders. Hope you're checking it out tonight. I'm going Facebook Live. Interesting topic. You don't want to miss it. I'll be talking about how you make a good first impression. And if you don't know me, my name is Scotty Sanders. I'm an international leadership consultant. Now, let me just tell you what I get very excited about, what my purpose in life is, and that is to encourage and to empower others to live, lead, and finish well. So listen, if you've joined my Facebook Live, just post it that you've joined me. I'd really appreciate that. Because see, one of the things I love getting to do with these Facebook Lives is I get to help you to lead yourself well. That's what I really enjoy doing, helping people lead themselves well, because when you lead yourself well, it gives you opportunities to lead others well. So thanks for several of you already jumping on. Leroy, my good buddy, thanks for joining in. And Jenny and Cindy and Kathy, thanks for joining me. So interesting topic tonight about first impressions. And I'll have to be honest with you, it's something that, Kevin, thanks for jumping in there. Kevin is our creative director, and he'll be taking some notes along the way. But the first impressions, one of those things I've had to really work on during my lifetime, because it's not always something that comes easy for me. Now, my wife did tell me a number of years ago that my looks improved by 50% when I smile. So I've learned to smile more. But I'm a pretty serious, hard-nosed, let's get to it, get it done. So I have to really work on that. But I understand the importance of first impression. So in fact, I don't know, maybe it's been 10, 11 years ago now. I remember doing a little research to find out what is the number one company in the world when it comes to customer service and how to treat guests right, how to make them feel welcome, how to have that good first impression. And the company was Ritz-Carlton, and they're still the number one customer service company in the world. And so I did a little research on the company and found out that they put on a leadership certification seminar thing that they would do. So you'd go there for a number of days, and it costs several $1,000s, and you would learn kind of their secrets behind what do they do to make that great first impression. And sometimes I think we forget that it requires some intention to that. It just doesn't always happen, but they were very intentional. So some of the things I'll share with you are things that I learned from them. And in fact, the things that I learned from them over 10 years ago, I cross-appropriate that with a number of my clients that I work with to share different insights. So, kind of getting this whole first impression down. Again, if you've joined me, this is Scotty Sanders coming to you live. I'm an international leadership consultant. I love getting to pour into leaders. In fact, my wife and I had lunch today, and I told her in the last week I've had 4 different requests from leaders in different countries of what I speak to them or come to their country and do stuff. And so this is one of the ways that I'm able to pour into leaders literally all over the world by doing my Facebook Live. So this is where we start. Let's build a relationship. I'm here to invest in you, to pour in you, because that's what I love getting to do. So I hope this helps you. And if you have joined, please post that you've joined in. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about these different things that can help you with a good first impression. So here's the first one, and it's the hands or the handshake. Now, I did a little research on this. In fact, I heard someone talking about it, and I thought it was kind of interesting that our hands can be somewhat scary things. When we got our hands hidden from people want to know, is there something in your hand that could potentially hurt them? So when you're meeting someone for the first time, you don't want to have your hands in your pocket. And that's kind of slouchy anyway, a little sloppy and insecure. And I know it's somewhat awkward of where do you put your hands and how do you hold them? But you need to have your hands where they're visible to people. And then when you go up and you shake someone's hand, and I realize it could be slightly different between men and women, okay? But I think some of the same principles apply. You want to make sure you don't have your hands in the pocket. I don't normally see women doing that, but I know men do that a lot. In fact, I found myself even yesterday, trying to say, oh, pull my hands out of my pocket, pull my hands out of my pocket. I tend to do that some, so I have to watch that. But when you shake someone's hand, you want to make sure that your thumb is up where they can see it, okay? And by the way, it's a handshake and not a fist bump or a high five. And we tend to do that a little bit. That's kind of the cool thing, but people still want to shake your hand. And they want to see that you've got a firm handshake. Now, you may not have this problem, but I've run into people before. In fact, just a few days ago, I shook someone's hand, and it was like a puddle in their hand. If you have sweaty hands, you need to figure out a technique. Maybe you keep a napkin or a paper towel or something in your pocket that you wipe your hand so you don't do that. That's not good, but it needs to be a firm handshake. People need to see you coming with your hands in advance. That's what makes a good first impression. So that's the first thing you need to do. Get that handshake down. Listen, when they're younger kids, after you've got to know people for a while, it's okay to do some high fives and fist bumps. When you're meeting someone for the first time, again, that first impression, you want to make sure you shake their hand. It needs to be a firm handshake. And then the second thing you want to make sure you do is you want to make good eye contact. You don't want to be looking around for other people. You want to look them directly in the eye. Now, let me just say to you, you don't want to stare a hole through their head. All right, but you don't want to be darting around. So it needs to be something that you do. It's appropriate. It shows, it shows something about you. In fact, that eye contact, when you make good eye contact, it leads to the third thing. So you want to have a good handshake. You want to make good eye contact. And the third thing, what that does, it shows a level of confidence, okay? You make a good impression with people when they see that you're somewhat confident. You're not too shy, or you don't feel like a loser to people. People want to do business with people that are confident, that are winners. So here's the thing you want to balance there. You don't want to come across as being desperate, nor do you want to come across as being arrogant. So you want to be humble but confident. You want to have that winning approach when you're making, you're connecting with people, okay? So there needs to be a genuine interest in the person that you're meeting too. Be sincere about that. So a good handshake, eye contact, and you want to present yourself with confidence. You're a winner. You don't want to be desperate, but you don't want to be arrogant. You don't want to come across cocky. And you want to be genuinely interested in them, okay? And we'll get back to how you can do some things to indicate that, okay? You with me so far? So good handshake, eye contact, make eye contact. Third, you want to show a level of confidence that you're a winner. People don't want to do business with people that are losing all the time, that are failures. They don't want to do that. So show genuine interest with them. And then the fourth is a sincere smile. Now, I've kind of hinted to that one. My wife helped me out with that one a number of years ago. You need to smile more. You look too intense, when you hear that enough from people, you got to take it serious. My kids would say, Dad, sometimes you can be intimidating. You can have a frown or when you're into something. So I've just learned to lighten up, make good eye contact, have a sincere smile, not a fake smile, but a sincere, genuine, warm smile. And part of that is having a genuine interest in someone else. How can you make them feel comfortable? Okay? So again, you want to have good handshake. It needs to be firm. They need to see your hands. Make good eye contact. Come across being confident, not arrogant or cocky. Okay? And then you want to have a sincere, warm smile. And then the next one is try your best to remember their name. All right? So a lot of times, and I have to watch myself here, I'm usually trying to think of what I want to say, so I don't listen as well as I need to. So I have to really be intentional, and it's very important. I work on it. And a lot of people that know me know, Scotty, you're good about remembering names. And listen, I think I'm pretty good, but my age is working against me, so I have to work even harder. But remember their name and even say it back to them, okay? So that's important. Try to get that name, say it back to them. And one little technique I use, I'll even spell it while I'm looking at them just to make sure that it's ingrained in my brain, okay? So remember their name. All right, and then the last one I'd mention to you, and this one might be a little bit different than you've heard before, but typically when we meet someone for the first time, think about this. What do we say to people? How you doing? What's going on? What's happening? Hope you have a nice day. How's your day going? Those are not what I'd call conversation starters. I want you to think about when you meet someone, try to have some conversation starters, something a little bit different than just, how are you, right? Because you know what the pat answer on that is? I'm fine, right? But again, you have to do this at the appropriate time. But think about saying, hey, I'd love to hear your story. Again, you don't want to get the whole history lesson from birth till their age 50 or 40, but just to get a little bit of background. Hey, I'd love to hear your story, Scotty. I'd love to hear more about you. Or what are you really passionate about? What's your passion project right now? That's a good thing. Or I was asking someone, just testing this. I heard someone say this the other day, and I was testing this over the last few weeks and asking people, hey, what's been the highlight of your week? You would be shocked of how engaging that conversation, and you could tell they lit up because people want to share those type things. So again, a good conversation starter. All right, let's kind of go through these again. And you need to get these in your mind that you practice these. So the first one is a good handshake, right? Second, make eye contact. Don't stare a hole in them, but don't be darting away. Third, approach them with confidence, not arrogance, not cockiness, not out of desperation, but a winner with confidence. Next is that you want to have a sincere smile, a very warm, sincere smile. And then make sure you focus on remembering their name and then have a good conversation starter, not just how are you, how's your day, how's it going, okay? Those are 6 things that I believe if you'll practice, it will really help you on your first impression. Again, it's all cloaked with sincerity, authenticity, and genuineness. I can't make you do that, but you need to work on that. You need to say, what can I do for this person? Not what can they do for me, but what can I do for this person? How can I make them feel comfortable? When you approach people in that way, it sets you up for greater success. All right. So I hope this has helped you. I did get a question I thought was interesting that fits with this. It came in. I wanted to share it with you because I think this would be something, maybe this won't help you a lot, but maybe you can pass this on to a family member, your kids, grandkids, someone you work with, someone's looking for a job. But this question came through. It says, I've been on several job interviews over the last several months, but unable to land a job. Are there first impression no-nos on job interviews? Okay, are there first impression no-nos on a job interview? And I'm so glad you asked that question because I've got a few that these are just big no-nos. And listen, I've interviewed well over 100 people. It might be 200, but I know it's well over 100 people. And I've had some people I've interviewed, they knocked it out of the park. And then I have some people I'm like, I'm wasting my time. I knew within the first minute I would never hire this person, just how they presented themselves. Now, here's the first thing I would say to you. When you go on a job interview, you want to make a good first impression, do not show up late. Now, over my years, I have hired one person that showed up late, but they knocked the rest of the interview out of the way, but they apologized for being late. It was like this anomaly that happened. It was not the norm, okay? You don't show up late for a job interview. You get there early. You get situated. You're not frantic running in there. That's a terrible, terrible first impression. So that would be the first thing I would mention to this person that sent this question in. What are some no-nos for a first impression on a job interview? Don't be late. When they come out to get you to bring you in from the interview, do not be holding your phone and checking your email or checking Facebook and looking down. You need to be looking up. Do not be walking into the office last checking Twitter feed or text messages. Do not do that. Put your phone up. Do not have your phone out. That is a big no-no. It makes you look distracted and disinterested. Okay? So don't be late. Don't be fooling with your phone. And third, make sure when you do the interview that you don't talk too much. Okay, now I want to just pause for a second here. I've got to watch this. Now, I've only interviewed for one job in my life. I've had maybe 4 or 5, but I've only really interviewed for one job. And my first interview that I had on this job, the feedback that I got from the person that interviewed me when actually multiple people interviewed me, I had probably 4 interviews with 8 or 9 different people that were involved in that. And the feedback that I got from my interviews is, Scotty, you talk too much. Now, here's some good news. I'm so thankful that that person cared enough about me that they would mention that to me. And I've tried to watch that because I get, you can tell, I'm passionate. I get excited. I want to share what's going on. Don't talk too much. And so I've had to really work on that over the years. I've told you that. That's one of the things I have to work on. Don't talk too much. Listen better, okay? So don't talk too much and don't talk too loud. Don't dominate. Don't become obnoxious. People that talk loud can be very obnoxious. So I'd say don't do that. And then here's another no-no, that you've not done your research on the company that you're interviewing with. And they ask you something about, well, what do you think about our company, or what do you think about our history? And you don't have an answer there. You don't even know what to say. That's terrible. When you go for an interview, you need to go in there prepared. So that's a terrible first impression. You didn't care enough to do some research. And listen, I hear that a lot from young people, that there's a little bit of this, hey, if I get a job, I get it, it's fine. They don't go in there prepared and stuff. And again, I'm not saying it's just young people, but you need to go in there prepared. You've done your homework on that company. You've searched their website, their history, and you can ask them intelligent questions. And if they ask you a question, you can give an intelligent answer. You can be conversant. Okay, that's a big no-no. Now, here's another one: not using good manners. Now, listen, I might be old school, and if I am, I apologize. But yes, sir, no, sir, no, ma'am, yes, ma'am, I think still applies in any situation. Just being respectful. When you're yeah and no, that's just being disrespectful. And like I said, I'm letting you know, I might be a little old school, but I can tell you this: if I'm interviewing someone and they don't show good manners, I'm not going to hire them. I'm just not. You may say, well, that's not fair. I've got that prerogative. I'm not hiring you if you have bad manners. I'm not hiring you if you come in and you're looking on your cell phone. And if you're late more than once, you're probably not going to stay on the team. That's just the way it is. Listen, the job market, it is a good job market now, but listen, I want to bring people on my team that bring, the right kind of attitude. They're invested, they're engaged, they're committed, they're not distracted. So those are things that I'd say be a real turnoff in a job interview. Here's a couple other things. No-nos, first impressions on a job interview. Don't get into pay out of the gate. Don't be saying, what does this job pay? Never say that. Maybe your second or third interview, but you don't bring that up in the first 5 minutes. Terrible first impression. It just becomes a job. You become a hireling at that point versus, hey, what can I do to help this company be successful? That's the approach you need to take. And then here's maybe one more. When do I get off? What are my days off? What are my vacations? Do I have sick days? Man, you don't want to get into that early in a conversation, in an interview. Very bad first impression. It becomes this entitlement mindset. It needs all to be about, what can I do to help your company? How can I be a part of the success? I want to be a part of this team. I think I can help this team. Not what do I get, but what can I give in turn? At the end of the day, the greatest examples of leaders, and you can go study it. Jesus is a good example of this. He's a great, not a good one, he's a great example of this. There are some other good examples, but Jesus is a great example. He was a servant leader. It wasn't about what he got, it's about what he did for others. I think that's a great example for us as well. So that'll help you make a good first impression. Now listen, I'm curious, what's an example of what someone's done that was a bad first impression to you? I think everybody would love to hear what is something someone did to you that made a very bad first impression. Let's just keep that going. I'd love to see those. Whoever puts the best answer, well, the worst bad first impression answer, we'll post that out there and we'll give you credit for that. I'd love to hear, and I might put a couple examples I've run through the years, but I've mentioned a couple of those already. But I'd love to hear what's a bad first impression example that you know of that you experienced with somebody through the years. And listen, I'm going to ask you again, this is what you can do for me. I hope this has helped you. If it has, I'd encourage you to share this with some others. And if you would, all you have to do is hit the share button and it can post and then other people can see it. And then you can send people to my website at scottysanders.com. I've got lots of resources available there, my blog articles, these videos that you can go back and watch as well. Now, I want to encourage you to do this. I want to encourage you to keep leading well. I'm going to be leading well until I see you next time, all right? So take care.